Tropes are some of the best and the most recognizable aspects of storytelling. The wise old master, enemies to lovers, the four-man band or whatever else. It's me, Matt the Creative, a guy who spent hundreds of hours studying storycraft and creative writing like a psychopath. And today I'm going to show you my top 5 amazing tropes in storytelling. But for those who don't know, tropes are the recurring plot devices, character archetypes, or incidents that bring familiarity to your story medium. Think the Demon King in fantasy stories like Ganon, Sauron, and every other isekai villain, or the super advanced AI like in sci-fi like R2-D2 and Terminators. And with that being said, let's get into the top 5 amazing tropes in storytelling. Starting things off, I'm going to delve straight into villain tropes, and we're going to look at an old character in Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. In the film, Maleficent infamously party crashes Princess Aurora's party, and pretty much goes, "Oh, I see you failed to invite me to the function. You failed to invite me to the party. Alright, I'm taking the kid's life." And it's like, goddamn, hold on, just because he didn't invite her to the party? You immediately get a sense of the threat that she is. And that leads to number 1 of my favorite tropes. And that's the truly evil villain. Like a force of nature, they can't be argued or bargained with. Like, seriously, are you going to try and bargain with Maleficent when she's willing to kill a kid just because she didn't get invited to a party? You can't argue with that. Come on now. When one of these guys shows up in the story, everybody has to stop and address them due to the threat that they embody. Take a look at Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Outside of a single flashback, you don't even see him in the movie. He's literally not there. But he's always lurking. All around the corner, he forces such extreme action from the protagonists and pushes them to their limits. Truly, super evil villains are a classic in storytelling that I love. But speaking of another thing that I love, let's find ourselves taking another look into anime. Specifically isekai anime, and usually the means of getting there varies. But nothing beats y'all. The concept of truck-kun in of itself is one of the funniest things ever to me. Like, this is easily my favorite trope ever, just because of how ridiculous the concept is and how often it happens as well. The fact that you can call this a trope because truck-kun transcends creative writing and fiction altogether. Keeping in with the theme of isekai though, we also find another trope that's also very, very common, and one that I would say has a lot of unsung potential due to how those simple ways that it's used, and that would be the chosen one trope. The good things about the trope is how much being chosen can influence said characters. You could get your typical hero who's born to vanquish a great evil, like the heroes from the Dragon Quest games. Or maybe you get the chosen one tries to flee from their destiny, and that gives an opportunity for character exploration. There's so much you can do with it, and there's so many possibilities. But moving on, I'd like to take a look at the world of Naruto, and particularly the first couple episodes. We see the pain that he goes through from being ostracized by the entire village. He has no parents, and pretty much nobody who cares about him. And why is that? Well, it's because there's a giant nine-tailed fox that's sealed within him that holds the power to destroy the world. That's why. This is the monster that's sealed within trope, and it's a personal favorite of mine because of how much conflict it creates in a character. It usually puts them at odds with the people around them, themselves, and if the monster is dangerous enough, the world itself. The Hulk is probably the most famous example of this, as Bruce Banner's life infamously sucks, with him being hunted by the military or having to constantly keep a leash on his emotions, and the fact that he's a danger to those who he loves and cares about. And the Hulk himself has its own personality, wants and desires. In fact, there are several different Hulks, some of which act as coping mechanisms to deal with his abusive childhood and troubled teens. So much character exploration, just out of one trope. I love it. Now, I've got a question for you. What is the go-to way to make people cry in your story? A tragic backstory is certainly one way to do it. Maybe it's finally seeing those two star-crossed lovers finally get together. But for me, it's death. But not just any random jobber dying, because that's just funny. No, I'm talking about the heroic sacrifice, when somebody puts down their life for someone else or an ideal. When this happens in a good story, there are often massive repercussions of some sort. In the case of Superman's death, he caused the entire world to stand still as the icon of hope was thought to be destroyed. And in turn, various different Superman showed up to take his place because the ideal that he represented could not be put down. It could not be taken away so easily, and he inspired so many other people beyond him. That's good writing. Or in One Piece, with Whitebeard and Ace, Whitebeard gave a speech that resounded around the entire world and reignited the desire to find the One Piece.
The One Piece! The One Piece is real!
And Ace's death literally broke Luffy and caused him to making him say that he no longer was capable of becoming the Pirate King. When a grand death like this happens, a massive change is forced in the world and other characters. And there's a huge impact as well. And that's it for today, guys. I hope y'all liked. If you liked it, leave a like, a sub maybe, and I'll see you in the next one.